Hi, I'm Matt McFarlin.
Hi, I'm Sarai. We are your hosts. Welcome to the first episode of the weekly Eastern Echo podcast. During this podcast, each week we will discuss a recap of news and upcoming events. There will also be interviews with special guests each week, trivia questions, and more. Look out for us on campus and on social media to give us ideas on topic. Here's Matt with the news.
In news this week, Eastern Michigan University is hosting Explore Eastern Open House for prospective students. EMU begins an upgraded tuition-free program called Eastern Tuition Advantage. The International Student Association on campus hosts events to teach EMU students about diversity and culture around the world. EMU's new Explore Eastern Open House offers high school, transfer, and graduate students a chance to explore what EMU has to offer. The Explore Eastern Open House is a tour to introduce prospective students to the university, with presentations from the deans of each college at EMU. This event will be held at the EMU Student Center, giving students an opportunity to explore what the Student Center includes as well. Potential students will have the opportunity to interact with other students and also get to meet some of the professors here at EMU before they register. Students will get to ask questions to professors too. When applying to universities, we all know that housing and tuition is one of the biggest leading factors on what school to go to. EMU will be going over information on how to apply for financial aid, the application process, and scholarships that are available along with requirements. A free application is available on the second floor at the Student Center, room 204. All students have access to this application with a waived fee. College is a big turning point in people's life, and it is important for people to try and pick the best college they feel is for them. This is an event where students can explore and find out all the information they need to know about EMU. Registration is open for both October 8 and November 5. The event will take place at EMU Student Center from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. In other news, Eastern Michigan University upgraded its tuition-free program and some new eligibility requirements have been introduced. EMU now has a newly upgraded tuition-free program called Eastern Tuition Advantage. The program is for incoming first-year students, awarding free tuition to those with a cumulative high school grade point average of 3.0 or higher and an annual household income of $60,000 or less. This award covers financial costs up to 16 credit hours per semester. However, students cannot use this award during summer semesters. In order to keep receiving this award, you must meet the requirements each year. Eligible students must enroll in a minimum of 15 credit hours every semester and maintain a minimum of 2.7 EMU cumulative GPA. Students must also complete FAFSA by the declared deadline in order to keep receiving the award. The university understands that tuition can be difficult for some students, and EMU is passionate about helping as many students as they can. Over the past 10 years, EMU has awarded approximately 4,000 Education First Opportunity Scholarship Awards, the old tuition-free award. There's no limit on how many incoming students can receive the new award, and recipients do not have to live on campus to receive it. In other on-campus news, the International Student Association was featured in the Echo this week in our series on cultural organizations. ISA has goals to teach EMU students about different cultures and nations around the world. The group consists of an executive board who works together to plan events that all EMU students are welcome to attend. Their next big event will be Bollywood Night, expected to happen on October 22nd. The party will include music, dance, food, games, and light ceremonies in honor of Hindu holiday Diwali. ISA also plans to bring back Colors and Harmony this year, a large event that was canceled the past few years due to COVID. The org wants to bring everyone on campus together to showcase and celebrate every country present at the university and get people talking and interested. EMU's 15,000 students arrive in Ypsilanti from 50 states and 83 countries, bringing with them diverse cultures and backgrounds. Cultural organizations on campus have been created to help students explore that diversity and highlight and share the beauty of cultures from around the world.
Are you an EMU student looking for events to attend? Tune in each week to hear about the best events going on and off campus in the coming week. In events this week, National Coming Out Day is happening on October 11th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Lake House. Hosted by the LGBT Resource Center, this event will include fair-style food and games, face painting, drag artists, and more. Starting on October 12th, home-cooked cooking classes will be offered to EMU students free of charge. This event includes a free meal and LBC credit and will be located in 105 Rackham Hall from 5 to 6 p.m. Advanced registration is required and can be found at Eagle Nutrition Services. On October 13th, Swooptacular Spooktacular will occur in honor of the month of Halloween. This event will be on the Student Center first floor from 7 to 9 p.m., including fire artists, stilt walkers, reptile showings, and more. The Eastern Echo podcast trivia question this week is how many dining locations are on EMU's campus? DM us on our Instagram at EasternEcho_podcast for a chance to win a prize.
The quote of the day today is, "Great things come from humble beginnings," pitched by Nolan Leak. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Matt.
And I'm Sarai. We are your hosts, and this was the Eastern Echo podcast. Next up, here is Eastern Echo podcast editor Jordan Boyd speaking with EMU alumni and former Echo Editor-in-Chief Andrew Lenzo.
Hello, viewers, and welcome to the Echo podcast. Today we are recording with Andrew Lenzo.
Hey, how's it going, Jordan?
I'm going pretty good. How about yourself?
It's going really well. You know, we kind of did this impromptu today, and I'm very happy you asked me to come on. I'm excited to talk.
Thank you for joining. Andrew joined us today after a open house kind of style meeting with alumni, and this is alumni who graduated from Eastern. And when was that you graduated?
So I graduated in December of 2019.
2019.
Right before the pandemic.
And then what happened after? What type of area did you move to?
Yeah, so I went into the marketing field. I bounced around a bit, though. I lived in Ypsi for another year, went out to Denver for a couple of years, and I just recently moved back a month ago.
Okay. And then are you enjoying coming back and seeing the campus?
I absolutely love it. You know, living here postgraduate it's a different experience. I didn't think it was going to be different, but you know, having adult money but still being irresponsible as an adult has been so much fun.
What experiences did you have? What groups or activities were you in when you were younger?
Oh my gosh. So this didn't age well, but I'm an Eagle Scout. I was in Boy Scouts, and that's where, I don't know, most of my leadership experience came from originally. So I learned a lot of skills about how to communicate really well and how to, you know, get a team excited about a common goal. And that's something I kind of carried throughout my entire experience in college as well. I was also cello. I played cello and I was the cheerleader for a while, so I learned a lot about leading a section and keeping everybody on track for that as well. So I carried a lot of that into college.
Now, do you think like those skills that transferred over, like which ones of those were the important ones? Your leadership, the ability to follow versus lead. What aspect do you think that played for you?
One thing that comes up every day in my professional life is communication. For example, last week we had a client who had reached out to us about a project, and it went through the seams and nobody saw the email. And that's played a huge role into, you know, what's happened since then. We've had to do a lot of damage control for that client to make sure that we keep them on. So, you know, regardless of the industry or, you know, what you're doing professionally, having good communication skills, having good organization skills, you know, that's really helped me a ton in my life.
Okay. And then were you in college? Were you the ones who had the to-do list and a calendar, or were you kind of winging it?
My first year, I partied a lot. My second year, I got my Google Calendar out and kind of put my head down and started working. I learned very early on just how easy it is to get distracted. You know, with college, there's just so many opportunities and so many things you can get involved in. So I actually took it a step further. In my Google Calendar to this day, I have hours blocked off for when I should be working on certain things. I have hours blocked off for meetings. I have like 4-hour blocks just to spend time talking to clients and doing outreach and doing podcasts. So it's a very valuable thing to have, especially as you get busier, as you get older, get involved in more things.
So what did you wind up pursuing in college? What majors and certifications?
Oh my gosh. So college for me was just kind of trying new things and seeing where I fit. I started as a cello major. I was going to go teach cello. Then I switched to political science and I volunteered on a couple of political campaigns. And then eventually I got in as the opinions editor of the Echo and realized, wow, like, you know, the objective side of this, of getting to the truth and sharing the hard facts, you know, that really motivated me. So I went and continued and got my communications major and got my journalism minor after that.
And are you happy with that decision? Is there something you would have pursued instead?
Absolutely. So I went into marketing after I graduated, but I have a very unique background from other people who studied and went into their agencies. I bring a lot more content creation experience, and I feel like I understand people a lot more than they do, if that makes sense. Like just all the interviews that I would have to do, the hard skin that I grew, going to a university official as like a 19-year-old and asking them some hard-hitting questions that, the professionals down the street at MLive weren't asking. That really opened me up to a lot of opportunities. So I wouldn't change anything.
So that background definitely helped you with everything that made you you, and you're happy with the path that you took and the outcome that it came about.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm only 24, and in 6 years, since I came to the east side of the state, I've learned so much and I've grown so much as a person. And I wouldn't change any of the experiences I've had. I've been in a number of professional settings, but every single decision that I've made has somehow benefited me. I've always learned something from it and took it forward.
And then where do you see that past leading your future?
That's a great question. I don't know what I'm eating for breakfast tomorrow, so we'll see. We'll see where I head. I just got accepted to University of Michigan for their master's degree program, so I'm thinking that's going to be my next step, and then I'll see professionally where I go. I'm really happy with the agency I'm with now, so even though I've been working in that for 3 years now.
So you have the experience, now it's time to get the certification.
Absolutely. It's time to kind of prove myself. There's so many interesting topics they have at that university that I really want to dive more into.
You're talking about diving more into, what are some skills that you want to fully pursue that you haven't had the experience yet?
Yeah, so in marketing, if any listeners don't know, there's two basic paths you can go down. One of them is called B2B. It means business-to-business marketing. So it's a business selling to another business. A good example of that would be like a warehouse selling, manufacturing parts to another warehouse. And there's also B2C marketing, which is business to consumer. That's one that more people are familiar with. It'd be like Amazon selling you a basket or selling you whatever. Any Instagram ads you get for like t-shirts or cool stuff to buy, that's all B2C marketing. I don't have a lot of experience in that or e-commerce, so I'm looking forward to taking some more courses on that and get to know that.
Okay, you're definitely trying to round out your skill table.
Absolutely, yeah. I just want to know as much as possible. That's my goal in life. I'm always learning. I also podcast. We have a podcast called Marketing and Coffee that we do twice a week, where I interview business owners, and I really just want to get as much information from people as possible and just find ways to grow myself personally.
Understandable. I mean, definitely. Yeah. Now, is there a set plan? I've heard people who they say that they want to learn a new skill at least by the end of the year, or they want to learn languages or etc. by the end of the week, or a task that's accomplishable.
Yeah, I think it's very important to have goals for yourself, but you also have to understand that life is so fluid that things are going to change on the flip of a coin. You can't be disappointed if you don't accomplish everything you want to, but as long as you have that common goal and you have some sort of expectation for when to accomplish it, I think that's important.
That sounds true, and
yeah,
and definitely one of those things that people should definitely look into, because how people set goals and dreams but never really pursue them, or they don't know the proper way to pursue them and they wind up not accomplishing what they wanted to and they fall behind.
Well, I think that's the difference in our field too, in content creation, because it's so easy to get distracted or decide to take the night off. But in our world now, there's just so many opportunities for freelance work that you really have to understand your deadline and, really hustle if you want to be in that field.
I completely understand, considering I waited to put my homework assignment off to the last minute and the file corrupted.
Well, you're not getting paid for that, though, so Not saying I encourage that. I was a bad student. Just getting from class. I came from a family where everything that they learned was very much an applied skill, something they learned through like work experience or being in the field. So like coming to the Echo for me was, 'cause I'm also an Eastern Echo alumni here. That was such a huge step for me because I got to apply all of these content creation skills and I got to learn so many things, while being in the field and actually putting out a product. With class, like I got all of this useful information, but I wasn't necessarily applying it to anything. So like we would write some stories, but a lot of them didn't even get published. So, and that's partly my fault. I could have done more on my side to, really take those skills and, make sure they were benefiting the community as well. But, you live and you learn.
True. And then for advice that you want to give that you've learned from yourself and your experience or wisdom that you were given by somebody in passing or a professor that you studied under?
Yeah.
Controversial comment.
We're spreading misinformation. We're not letting people watch both movies and then make up their minds. This is an opinion.
So how actually do you see the media affect you? What do you get your source of your news?
Well, I had the benefit of working at a newspaper and understanding like how much work goes into local journalism. So, when I lived in Denver, obviously the Denver Post was a big one for me. I listened to Michael Barbaro in the Daily every single morning. I listened to the Wall Street Journal. I read the Eastern Echo every day. I really do. I love your guys' coverage of the city. MLive is really the only other newspaper, and they don't cover a lot of things in Ypsilanti. So it's just great to read some of the stuff that you guys put out, whether it's like the local bridge that they're redoing downtown or, what happened with the athlete a few weeks back. So that's mainly where I get my news from. National issues I read a lot of the times. I still keep up on the Denver Post too.
Definitely, like with the constant news, because there's 1,000 things that happen daily. But can we just get you to say in a quote that you read the Echo News?
I read the Eastern Echo News, and you should too.
Well, thank you for that comment.
You're welcome. Yeah, if any of you guys are listening, like just type in easternecho.com, and all the articles are right there. You guys have an awesome TikTok too. I'm not sure who runs your multimedia, but they're doing a great job.
That task is handled by Destiny at the moment.
Destiny's doing amazing work.
She is. We definitely have her running around looking at different events as they pop up. And then our Instagram platform will be launching soon.
Awesome.
As well as we'll have some other platforms going.
Good stuff.
We hope to post the platform, the podcast and different cuts from it on as many platforms as we can because we're attempting to build this into something beautiful.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely getting this quote from Hamilton, the play. I want to build something that outlives me. Mm-hmm. And as I attempt that, I hope this, when I leave, I don't plan to be at college for 50 years, but I hope this continues on because that is an issue that I see with a lot of clubs that people invest themselves too much into it and it's solely run by them as opposed to building that team that continues on.
It's very cool to come back and talk to somebody like you who's, been here for a little bit, even after I've left, and just, I think back to the little things that we did and just how you guys are continuing them on. And it's bigger than you. There's no local Ypsilanti news source. MLive maybe, a couple of guys that have hopped up and then ended up shutting down, but you guys have always been here since like 1886. And, I just want to see that legacy continue.
So it's just that garden that blooms when you're gone.
Yeah.
And it's nice to at least, hopefully, I'll be able to walk through this before I'm actually gone.
Yeah, well, we'll be chilling at the alumni parties together in 50 years.
Maybe we'll be able to reflect on this with you being the first guest, and I'm technically the first host as I produce this and move away from being behind this mic. Hopefully this is the last time I be behind the mic.
I think you have a good voice. To be honest, I think you should stay in front here. I think you should look at your hiring process, change
traits as I can, or the master of none and the jack of
all trades.
That's yes, a jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades.
Master of none.
That's a good show.
There's a full quote. I encourage any viewer to read the full quote because it's actually this long, in-depth, beautiful thing. I'm not exactly sure where it goes directly, but it goes something such as jack of all trades is better than the master of one, and something that continues on there.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Well, if you're feeling like a hipster today, you can go pick up a paper of the Echo as well. They're all around campus. The graphic designers here do a really good job of putting that paper together. So
they work very hard.
Yeah.
I see them here on some days on Sunday when they're just like, oh gosh, we got a little space right here. How are we going to fill it? And then sometimes the space to fill it, there's that paragraph is just a little too big, and they're rearranging it. And coming from somebody who does digital editing, where it's just like, how do I make this just a little bit better every time? It's a very difficult and
well, it's a beautiful looking paper too. You guys have a lot of media on there, and you make it very easy to navigate. So, it's good to read articles online, but I'd recommend picking up a paper copy too.
Definitely, as considering how the paper copy is considering being an outdate, we're hoping to keep that tradition going and make sure that it stays this process that you can actually sit outside and read and get off the phone for a little bit and enjoy that environment that you're in.
Well, I don't know what it's like for you, but like for me as a writer, that was the coolest thing in the world to see my byline printed. Like that, I think that was maybe one of my favorite experiences working here. Was the first time I had my byline printed and I got to take it home, and I was like, hey, Mom, look at this. Like, I'm published. I'm officially published. Like, I wrote this, and it's in the paper.
That is how I felt when I took my first pictures. I believe I had 3 pictures that I took in the newspaper, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I did it. I'm successful. I'm better. I'm great. I'm up there.
Absolutely.
I finally made it, Mom.
Finally made it. I peaked.
Well, thank you for coming on the show and being our first guest once again.
Jordan, it was an absolute pleasure talking with you. It's been great getting to know you today. I'm excited to see what other episodes you guys come out with.
Thank you so much. Tune in next week to hear our next Echo podcast.
Hi, it's Destiny Jenkins-Jones popping in to remind you to follow us on our TikTok page at The Eastern Echo.
This segment was reported by Zena Al-Rashed, Victoria Smith, and Layla McMurtry, scripted by Mariah Taylor, and produced by Jordan Boyd. To read the full-length news articles this week, visit www.easternecho.com or pick up a copy of our print newspaper on campus.